Today we will be talking about the sciences in Black Panther.
In the movie Black Panther, main character T'Challa takes multiple herbs that have special properties. The elder of the community crushes up the plant-based substances, and then the one who wants the powers has to drink or ingest the herbs. Humans in our world also take plants and special herbs to improve their lifestyle. Studies show that certain mushrooms, like lion's mane, can support your overall health and help with your longevity. Lion's mane can also be used as a nerve strengthener, a mental focuser, and is labeled as brain food. There's also a medicinal mushroom that has special properties that can stimulate the synthesis of nerve growth factor. This fungus can play a critical role in health and regeneration of neurons in the brain and body. Certain athletes that have a plant-based diet get the most essential carbohydrates and calories. They are the most efficient source of fuel for the brain and skeletal muscles in humans. A review from 2006 demonstrates that athletes who are on a vegetarian diet have a greater abilities to maintain a long, healthy life. They are on a strict plant-based diet. T'Challa can also be categorized as an athlete since he trains and does lots of exercises to keep his community safe.
The character Black Panther performs all 8 characteristics of life. Like all humans, he has a cellular structure, which means he is made of cells. To respond to the environment, he uses his 5 senses to recognize and respond to changes in environmental conditions. In a flashback, he sees himself in the past and the present, demonstrating the growth he went through as from a child. All living things have a metabolism, and as a human being, the Black Panther has one as well, because he has the ability to digest the heart-shaped herb. Through maintaining a level body temperature as he moves around, defeats his opponents, homeostasis is being achieved. T'Challa's parents, T'Chaka and Ramonda, carried out reproduction by giving birth to T'Challa as one of their children. Black Panther's suit exchanges energy with the environment by absorbing energy around it and releasing it as kinetic. T'Challa shows adaptation by realizing he did not have a clear path to the throne and changing his mindset to regain it in the end.
The exercise science of Black Panther lies in the training to prepare for the movie. To meet the standard stature of a basic superhero, the Black Panther cast had a good deal of training to go through. The training includes weapon training, cardiovascular training, plyometric training, and several different types of martial arts, including judo, jiu-jitsu, and capoeira. The martial arts training was to help the cast prepare for specific scenes in the movie, like fighting scenes, which also included weapon training. However, the cardiovascular training and plyometric training was to just help build the figure. The weapon training focused on the biomechanics, which is the mechanical law of movement. The biomechanics of weapon training focus on the lower and upper body extremities. The movements done during weapon training demonstrate joint movement and force output in lunge movements, popular movements which are done during this training. The cardiovascular training, which is also known as aerobic training, are exercises that increase breathing rate, heart rate, and increase energy and stamina. The heart, lungs, and circulatory system, the system that circulates blood, all play a major role during aerobic exercise. Plyometric training, also known as jump training, involves exercises that train muscles to use their maximum power through short circuits. Plyometric training will mainly affect the quadriceps, hamstrings, gluteals, and calves. For martial arts, judo is a combat sport with the goal to lift and throw your opponent on their back and be able to keep the opponent under control and keep them to the ground. The pelvic floor muscles, transversus abdominis, multifidus, and internal and external obliques, rectus abdominis, and the diaphragm are the important muscles used in judo. In jiu-jitsu, it is a martial arts of ground fighting or gentle fighting. In jiu-jitsu training, flexibility is one of the most important factors, which coincides with the importance of flexibility in the posterior chain muscles, the quadriceps and the hamstrings, since they are the important muscles that help decrease knee injuries. Finally, there is capoeira, a martial arts that combines elements of dance, acrobatics, and music. Capoeira helps in toning the body and specifically strengthens and tones the quadriceps, buttocks, and hamstrings.
Behind the scenes of Black Panther's almost magical powers and abilities lies his suit. The secret here is vibranium, a fictional metal mined in Wakanda. According to Wakandan scientists, among others in the world, it is presumed that the quite rare metallic ore had first come to the Earth by means of a meteorite over 1 billion years ago. Therefore, it is theorized that it is an extraterrestrial material in its origin. Vibranium is hidden from the rest of the world by the Wakandan government and country as a whole because of its scarcity and incredible value. The Wakandan variation is only mined in the small African country as expected, but there are other types in minimal availability among the other continents that are slightly different, such as the Antarctic isotope known as antimetal. In total, there are 5 isotopes on Earth. The main reason it is so greatly protected and kept discreet is because of its extraordinary properties to absorb, store, and release surprisingly large amounts of kinetic energy. When first discovered, the people took notice of its strange ability to vibrate on its own. When this is broken down and looked at on the molecular level, the metal is able to pertain these energy manipulating properties by storing the energy between the bonds of the molecules that make it up. When being damaged, this energy that binds the particles together can be gradually reduced, which eventually would lead to the disintegration of the substance. However, it is very hard to demolish, especially if the matter is already charged with lots of outside energy, because the energy is absorbed and then redirected at the enemy or item that is being harmed, rather than directly hurting the vibranium. This is how T'Challa, also known as Black Panther's suit, uses the vibranium, since the curious metal is woven into it. In combat, for example, when Black Panther is hit with a bullet, the kinetic energy of the bullet is taken in and stored, and then can be shot out at the enemy. If vibranium is destroyed, it could possibly explode and cause damage to its surroundings because the energy could be released into the environment. Especially since vibranium is a mix of magic and science, it can effectively amplify quote-unquote mystical energies, but is also a highly unstable material when used in such ways because magically charged vibranium is unpredictable and virtually infinite.
So for the physics part of Black Panther, we'll be more specifically analyzing the maximum energy potential of Black Panther's full body armor. The armor itself is made from the same metal mentioned in chemistry, so it has the same kinetic energy absorption property. Since it is a fictional material, there are a few theories to how it works. We will be following the theory of a YouTuber Because Science Hill, who poses the theory that the vibranium inside the armor is woven in such a way that the vibranium acts like thousands of molecular springs, which have the capability of storing kinetic energy as elastic potential energy upon an inelastic collision. In the movie, we see Black Panther being able to release the stored energy, but during a firefight gets overloaded with energy and spontaneously releases it without T'Challa wanting to do so, to the specifics of the clip. First, Black Panther throws himself on a M61 fragmentation grenade, then he gets shot 11 times by .223 Remington bullets, and for this purpose we are using 53 grain bullets. After that, he gets hit with a M406 40mm high explosive grenade fired from an M203 grenade launcher, which releases the energy stored in the armor. To calculate the total kinetic energy the armor was able to absorb in this clip, we need the mass and velocity of each of these projectiles to find the absorbed energy. According to the Federation of American Scientists article in Warheads, a M61 fragmentation grenade explodes with an initial velocity of 2,150 meters a second, and due to the fact that Black Panther laid himself right on top of the grenade, this would be an acceptable velocity to use. Now that we have the velocity, we have to find the kinetic energy of the grenade. To do this, we use the equation on the screen. The article also states the mass of the grenade as 0.395 kilograms. Now we enter these values into the equation, get a total of 913,000 joules. This is approximately the same energy output of having a 60-watt light bulb running for 4 hours, except in this case energy is released instantaneously. Now on to the .223 Remington bullet. According to the Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturers Institute, a 53 grain or 3.4 gram .223 Remington bullet has a velocity of about 1,007 meters a second. Using the same equation we used above, a singular bullet has an energy potential of 1724 joules, and in our case we have to multiply this number by 11, giving us about 18,960 joules. This amount of energy could power the same light bulb from before for only about 5 seconds. Now to our last subject, the 40mm grenade. For this we have to calculate the impact energy as well as the energy of the grenade itself. According to an article on 40mm grenades, the muzzle velocity of an M406 grenade is 76 meters a second, and the weight of the projectile is 0.23 kilograms. Using those values with the same equation, we get a total of 664 joules, according to UN Safeguard International Ammunition Technical Guidelines, as a velocity of about 1,000 meters a second. When we plug that into the equation, we get a total of about 1150 joules. Adding up all the energy values, we get a total of 934,000 joules, so according to these values, we can estimate the total potential energy that the armor can store would be around 1,000 kilojoules, due to the fact that in the movie clip, the energy was only released after Black Panther has a concrete wall behind him, which we did not factor into our previous calculation.
CGI in Black Panther. The CGI used in Black Panther on the main actors was mainly motion tracking. Motion tracking uses specialized trackers on the bodies of the actors to collect information that can be used, in this case, to create an animation of a 3D model. The 3D models with the animations from motion tracking create a digital double. The digital doubles are then used to augment the live action shots, meaning they are what the viewers actually see. On the left, you can see the highlighted points on the foam box and on Chadwick Boseman's suit and face. The suit itself is very basic and the mask is entirely gone in the live action shooting. The filmmakers used the highlighted points on Chadwick's body to be able to mimic very human actions with the added CGI of the digital double. In this fight scene, the filmmakers used Chadwick essentially as a template for the digital double to eventually replace. Chadwick brings the humanoid movements that are captured through the motion tracking points on his body that are ultimately used as data for the digital double.